there's something wrong with you.
Patients are getting strange.
What are they? We're working on mutant women.
From David Cronenberg, who in The Fly made the fantastic real.
Get him out of here!
Radical technology was required. Something radical is definitely required.
Now, David Cronenberg makes reality the ultimate fantasy. Dead Ringers.
Separation can be a terrifying thing.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hey.
And by the way, this is Kevin. I didn't mention it before, for goodness sake. Sweet Jesus.
And we're not married. This is a brother and sister show. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
This week, we'll be discussing the horror classic. I don't even know what genre this is. This is Dead Ringers.
This is vaginal horror, is what we like to call it.
Exactly. This is Dead Ringers, starring Jeremy Irons and a bunch of French Canadians. So good times had by all.
Oui.
Now, Aaron, why don't you give us your 30-second synopsis of Dead Ringers?
Well, first, we have to say that this, in fact, is based on a true story.
Loosely.
At least the beginning and the end, maybe. nothing in the middle. At one time, there were twin gynecologists, and then, spoiler alert, they died. So, the rest is all fabrication and conjecture. Basically, this is it. You get identical twins, and if you've actually met identical twins, you can usually tell them apart. But not here. All it involves is a different haircut and a wrinkle shirt versus an iron shirt. And then that's how you know they're identical twins. Anyway, gynecologists, baby geniuses, socially awkward, good twin, bad twin, crazy twin, smart twin. They act like they're conjoined twins. They share everything, because they're clearly sociopaths.
Right.
Yeah, they're clearly sociopaths. You don't just basically they don't have relationships beyond themselves.
Right.
Would you agree?
I would definitely say so.
Smash cut, terrifying gynecological instruments right out of Hellraiser. I'm sure Pinhead invented those himself. Then fighting over a girl, somebody gotta go. Guess what? One twin dead, another twin dead. Drugs, dead.
I have to say that it goes from kind of perverse twin horror to just kind of clean and sober, like the dangers of addiction. Really quickly.
It's a cautionary tale. All you twins out there who want to dabble in drugs, here's your cautionary tale. If you want to dabble in drugs and gynecology, look out.
I swear to God, the last 45 minutes of the movie are just basically less than zero. Right?
Well,
Would you agree?
My son, I was watching it in my bedroom. My son flopped on my bed and started watching it with me. And then at one point he looked up, looked at me without saying a word, just got up and left. It was like watching porno with your children.
Yes. When words fail you.
Fun for the whole family.
Jesus. No, okay. Where?
It was like watching 50 Shades of Grey with your mother.
Clearly. Now, when did you even heard of this movie?
I have to say that I think this was a blockbuster. And I think I was watching this with some gal friends or something because we thought Jeremy Irons was kind of cute back then.
Oh, sweet Jesus. I don't think I'd ever heard of this movie until you started talking about it a couple of years ago.
I think it is an underrepresented look at horror because clearly David Cronenberg discussed with women about this. The assaults of having a dick gynecologist and all the horrors and the powerlessness that goes on when you're up in the straps.
Well, they're not straps, hopefully. Right?
Well, no, but you that's what straps.
Stirrups.
The stirrups, whatever.
They're strapping you down, hopefully.
How do you know? God damn it!
I dabble.
Anyway, I mean, it's a very powerless thing, and it's something that the women have to do, and men don't.
Right.
You know, when you're young, like when you're a kid, you're like 15 years old. Maybe you've never had sex, but now you got to go get your bits and pieces examined by a man. Nowadays, it's much more common to have a woman gynecologist.
Right.
But like growing up, you would just have like stranger danger guy probing around your bits and pieces.
Pretty much.
It was creepy. And I can, especially when I was pregnant, you know, when you're telling the doctor, hey, that hurts. And the doctor's like, you know, fuck you, basically.
Well, hopefully that's not what they say.
I literally was pregnant and getting an exam from my doctor up in the Bay Area. And he made some comment like, well, how is it that you were able to get pregnant? Like making a comment like I was being a whoop because I was like, hey, that hurts. And he made some dick comment about, you know, how did you ever have sex to have this baby if that hurts? Well, if you can believe that. If you can believe that. So watching this, you're just like, yep.
Why don't we jump right into behind?
Let me go on with my feminist tirade. I think you can ask probably most women, and most people have had some kind of weird issue, not like sexual or something with their gynecologist, where it hurts and they poo-poo you, kind of a thing.
Well, that might be so. Absolutely.
So now you add this to horror. Now you have like a sadistic dude and he's using some homemade instruments and his brother is like, we use that on the dead people, remember? We're not supposed to use that on living women. No wonder she was upset.
Well, but that's the thing. We have to jump in because this is bizarre and confusing.
I'm already talking about my favorite parts.
No question. We're going to hit the highlights, or as we like to call it, WTF. Or
the lowlights. The lowlights.
Because the guy you're referring to as the dick is actually the sensitive one.
Right. But once he starts going crazy, he becomes the dick.
Right. There's the two identical twin brothers, and I guess we're supposed to believe there's one that's kind of the charming dick who's not as good a gynecologist, I think, right?
And he's not as good. He's at charming. presenting himself, getting grants. But the other twin who doesn't get any of the accolades is really the good gynecologist, the good researcher, and it's kind of like the stronger twin kind of is always cutting his legs out from under him to keep him in more of that submissive role. So you have one brother who's good at flirting with women, talking to universities. He's the face forward.
Right.
He's the Steve Jobs.
Right.
I got it. It's Jobs and Wozniak. If they were identical twins. So one is the Steve Jobs. He might have some ideas. He doesn't know how to put it together. He's the face of the public.
Right.
He's a good writer, so he can write the grants. He can shake the hands. He can schmooze.
Right.
He's not a good gynecologist, and he's not a good researcher. That all falls on the weaker brother. And we don't know if he was always weak, or is it this older brother knowing his flaws is keeping the one kind of down so he can control him?
I don't know.
Maybe. What do you think?
I don't know if he is a bad gynecologist. Like, he doesn't have the skills, but I think the other one's better. He's much more research oriented. He's much more of a scientist type. Like the good one. Maybe I'm wrong. It just seemed like you're right. They had kind of a partnership where there was the good one who went out, got the grants, shook hands, went to the awards, banquets and things like that, while the other kind of was crouched in his offices. What do you think?
Well, and I don't see that the awards are going to the so-and-so brothers. I see the awards are going to the one brother.
Well, and that's...
Am I right or am I wrong about that?
I think Well, when they got their special gynecological device patented, they talked
Yeah,
about
the golden crotch rocket or whatever
right,
it was.
Right. They said are glowing twins or whatever. Kind of. They made a point to say.
Okay.
But later in the movie, I was kind of like, do people know that they are twins? Because it seems like some people seem to know, and other people it seems to be news to them.
Well, for sure, maybe people in the medical field may know, but it seems like, random people don't know because clearly they swap in and out all the time.
Right.
At the grants,
Yes.
with women, everywhere.
They do.
They swap in and out.
Well,
and sometimes it's for a purpose, and sometimes it's, I don't know. It's the stronger. The Steve Jobs claims that the Wozniak cannot get women without him.
Yes.
That he has to go in there and do all this, grease the wheels, so that his brother can show up.
Well, yes.
So that's kind of a belittling, and you hear that, and then you believe that,
Well, I think it's
that
true,
you can't
too,
do
though.
anything. Maybe, but I mean, if they had any social life beyond the clinic and their homes,
yes,
that could have happened.
The charming,
but it's not. It's codependency. It's
yes.
not symbiotic. It's codependency.
The charming one has said on multiple occasions that he goes, seduces the ladies, and then he's done with them quick, and then just passes them on to shy weird brother, who is evidently able to kind of keep it together long enough to kind of continue. Like if he was drooling in the corner and scratching himself, the lady would lose interest.
Right.
You'd think, right?
But he's vulnerable. But the problem is he was always vulnerable and maybe fringy. But then once you throw drugs in the mix and no sleeping, it really it pushed him over the edge. And then isolation, because now the fancy brother's working at the university because he's getting all the glory. Right. So he's getting the plush jobs while his brother's left to run the whole clinic.
Right.
But in reality, they could have brought in other doctors.
Well, and they're not.
It happens.
They're not regular gynecologists because they don't. He even says we don't deliver babies or anything. Our whole thing is strictly fertility.
But only women fertility because they fired patients when they find out it's really the husband.
Right.
It's only women's fertility. That's the only thing.
There's a whole scene where the woman's begging the doctor to meet with her husband. Because he's like, no, that's not what we do. We figured out that you're fine. Gotta go. I won't even give you a referral. You know where the door is.
I won't even give you I'm throwing your file out the window. Go run and catch it.
That's basically.
Get out of me. You disgust me. Get out.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh my God. And then during the height of oh my God. And then they decide they're going to seduce this actress. And then they find out that she's some kind of mutant with 3 cervix. Oh my God. I can't even imagine.
Or something is what they said.
So does that mean you need 3 IUDs or you just need the one?
You don't need
only
any
one
because
uterus.
you cannot bring a child. You can't get pregnant, is what she says, and she only has.
You can't hold it.
You can't.
Right, because you can't hold in the heat if all the windows are open.
That is a lovely analogy. Moving on.
So during the madness, where the weaker one develops this relationship, what really puts him at odds with his brother. Right. Then he becomes insanely jealous, and then more drugs, and now he's obsessed with mutants and mutant women, and now he's got a cast crazy fingernail hook.
Jumping the gun. I
went right to the good shit. I'm not messing around with plot development. I'm going right to the good stuff.
Well, she's the addict. Because she's a famous movie star who uses drugs. The doctors are straight arrows up to this point. And then she starts getting, passing the pills on over to Bev. Okay, you have sensitive Bev, and you've got cynical Elliot, or Ellie, as it called. Beverly and Elliot are the twins' names. Right. Okay, so the big French Canadian movie star that happens to be in their clinic because she can't have children because she has 3 cervixes. Starts her first Viv. There's not even a Viv. First Elliot hits it and quits it, and then passes it on over to Bev, the sweet, sensitive one. And they kind of start having a relationship, but she's the addict. She's the one who starts with the pills.
She's a functioning addict.
Yes.
And it wasn't like, I'm going to give you these drugs to get you high. He's having, because he's separated now from his brother because he's staying over there, versus the sick nature that they can't really be apart.
Right.
So now he's having terrible nightmares that she's coming between them.
God.
So remember that? So you see her, there's like they're obsessed with those twins, the Siamese twins, it's not yin and yang. What is it? Whatever.
Aang and Chang.
Aang and Chang. So he's having this dream that she's in bed with both of them, and then like a serpent or a cat crawls between them and starts taking chunks out of this skin attachment. So he starts screaming.
That was awful.
So she slips him a Seconal so he can sleep.
Right.
And then it all goes down from there. Because then now he wants to take it all the time. Then he can't go to work. So she gives him speed. It's Judy Garland all over again.
It is.
It's all a sea of uppers and downers. And he's addicted like bang.
Like bang. So it's because, again, the doctors were pretty much straight arrow guys. They didn't use it. I mean, they had, the occasional white wine.
A glass, wine, a spritz at dinner time or something.
For reals. So he gets hooked because she has to go shoot a movie somewhere. I don't know. Alberta.
10 weeks.
Right.
10 weeks in the Yukon Territory or some other bullshit.
in Yellowknife or Regina, I believe.
I hope it's Regina. That would go with our theme.
So he can't. Now he's like,
I'm getting my vagina examined in Regina.
That's how they do it.
Yay!
Sweet Lord. So he becomes a full-blown addict, literally where he's living in like a crack den. Like the house is totally destroyed. There's trash, crap everywhere, dirty clothes.
Well, I thought that in reality, later on, I realized it's The Office.
Yes, you're right. It was hard to tell, but you're absolutely right. Later in the thing, it's literally because the secretary quits because he's like shooting. He's literally shooting up at his desk.
He's literally shooting up. He just jumped. He went from Seconal to no dose to like, I'm just mainlining heroin.
That's what I'm
Boom.
saying. That's how they do
I mean,
it.
you're a doctor. You can write a prescription for whatever. So all of a sudden now you're injecting heroin?
He goes right to it. No question. Well, he's
Boom.
upset because he calls her suite on location, and her obviously gay like assistant hairdresser answers the phone. So he's convinced she's having an affair. Okay. And I have to
and then starts shouting all these personal things. Did you know she has 3 cervix? She is a mutant.
She's
oh
a
my
mutant.
God. And she hears all this and don't give a fuck. I'd be like, dude, we're done, and I'm reporting you to the medical board.
Well, she's easy peasy, because she figured out when she found out he had a twin brother that they'd both been at her without her knowledge.
Yes.
And she forgives him for
And
that.
It forgives him.
Crazy.
Yeah. She is a doormat. She's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a sad situation.
Yikes. Unless this is the child that she's never going to have. So now she has to take care of someone. But I would be like, no, this is too much for me. I ain't no doctor.
This is a bridge too far.
This is a bridge too far. You cuckoo.
Did you notice the crazy robes that they wear? There's like...
Oh my God.
Go for it.
100%. I don't know if you ever saw Nip Tuck back in the day.
Did they wear this stuff on Nip Tuck?
They would wear these, like one day they'd be in there with blood red gowns. They always had these dramatic, crazy gowns. So Nick Tuck came after this, so it had to be this influence. This blood red gowns with these caps and face masks. Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
It was like cult leaders or something. It was the craziest thing.
It was Eyes Wide Shut, 100%.
No question, it was the craziest thing. But even
it looked great though.
But even their casual robes that they'd wear around the office looked nuts to me. I'm like, do you have to?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was kind of like Bob Guccione, or it was. My memory is shot the hell. But it's literally like smoking jackets or robes that they're wearing to the office.
Hugh Hefner is who you're looking for.
Hugh Hefner, not Bob Guccione.
He may wear robes too. Who's to say?
I bet he do.
At one point, go ahead. Did you want to continue?
No.
At one point, I was bowled over because Elliot, the charming rake, invites twin escorts into his hotel room. Did you recognize them?
I did not recognize them. Who are they?
Jill Hennessy, who was on Law and Order. She had her own. She had a bunch of different things. If you saw her, if you saw her again, you'd recognize her in context because this was young Jill Hennessy.
Wait a minute, is that Black Bob? Very non-expressive face, that chick from Law and Order? Because there's been so many people in Law and Order.
I think she was like Sam Waterston's assistant DA or something.
But she never smiled. She was all very matter of fact, right?
Perhaps.
With the black Bob.
She had black hair. That is true.
Well, the other one was a blonde one, and then the other one was like...
Let me tell you.
Oh no, Mariska Hargitay is on SUV.
Okay. Law and Order, Crossing Jordan. There was another show like Providence, I think is what it was called. She was a
regular.
She was like the star of these shows. And what's crazy is, Jeremy.
I thought those were Will Trims. I thought those were real twins.
They are real twins.
She has a twin sister?
That's the craziest thing.
God.
That's what I was saying.
And what? Oh my God.
Yes.
And that was never used on Law and Order?
Never.
That would have been fabulous.
Right. It's the craziest thing. Because again, it's like if it's Jeremy Irons, you use trick photography to show that there's a twin. If this is Jill Hennessy and maybe her second film role, you're not doing trick photography. You're just going to find some twins from Canada and call it a day.
Exactly.
And that's what they did.
Exactly.
Good grief.
Yeah, well, I mean, this movie is old enough that you could always see a strange line when the two of them are together, or someone who has their back to them with always a weird wig or something.
Yes.
There's always a crazy wig. So you always knew that if only there were two, but no. It was old school technology. Now they would have done some bullshit CGI and it would have looked like shit, but...
Do you know what I found interesting? When Sensitive Bev is deep in his grappling with drug phase.
Yes.
He never looked that bad. He looked a little twisty, a little shaky, but he wasn't all grizzly and dirty. You know what I mean?
Well, you mean the faces of meth people in Portland?
Yes.
That's because we're talking 10 weeks and not... All this happened in 10 weeks.
But he was taking the time to shave every morning. If you're taking the time to shave your face every morning, you're still doing okay in my book. I don't even do that.
He hasn't even gotten to the point where he's losing teeth or whatever.
Not even. Sweet Jesus. Still looks pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so. It's just mentally he was kooky as a kook. Oh my God, the crazy instruments. One looked like a spine. One was a devil's finger with a claw on it. I can't even think of what the rest of that shit is. Thank you, David Cronenberg.
They did not dwell on it. Thank Jesus.
I was and this is for what? And this goes where? And then he ends up using it all on his brother?
Right. Well, okay. Basically, these are gynecological instruments that you would use on a mutant, is the idea.
Like the X-Men. Or the X-Women.
That is correct. Professor X's school. This is where you take these things and use them, I guess.
What's her name? Jane whatever? Does she have... Jane Grey has 6 cervixes, and there's a claw that comes out of one.
That's how it works. just good science. It's just good science. Sweet Jesus. Okay, I wrote down Bev's sensitive sweater because that was one way you could tell the difference. His hair wasn't as cool, and he always wore like a cable knit sweater. So
He had Mr. Rogers' tan sweater.
yes, very.
Won't you be my neighbor?
He was very sensitive. Good Lord.
Yeah, one was like dressed like a CEO, and the other one was dressed like, you know, your family doctor.
That's exactly correct. Like a librarian or somebody.
Exactly, or a college professor.
That's what it was, but not a good
He
one.
needs the patches on the elbows.
So she comes back. The actress comes back to visit him, and I swear to God, 2 seconds later, he's cured of all addictions. Did you notice that?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So what's happening there? I was trying to figure out, is she weaning him off? Is she just controlling what he's taking? Who the f***?
Well, I think they do say, hey, I haven't heard from my brother in a week. That's strange. So we're supposed to think it's been a week, and now he's totally, I was going to say kick the bucket, but that's not the right term. Gone wild turkey? I don't know. What's
the wagon? He's on the wagon. He's on the wagon. He's not on the wild turkey, but he is on the wagon, which I never understood what on the wagon or off the wagon, how that had anything to do with drugs or alcohol. What is the wagon?
I think it's the milk wagon. Like you drink milk, not booze, is my understanding.
Is that correct?
I think, but maybe I've lost my damn mind. It's entirely possible.
All right. Well, that actually, I mean, it sounds like it could be a thing.
We could Google it, but we're not going to.
But we're not going to go do that. Take our word for that.
So then Elliot, Schmarmy Elliot, goes like, "Well, I'm going to start popping pills to try to equalize us. So as he gets better, I'm going to slowly get worse, so that we like pass in the middle." I don't know what the plan was.
That seems not very doctor-y, doctor.
It seems bad. And
is that science? Is that science, doctor?
It's just good science. And I think he actually winds up worse than Bev, because he's the one where they go to the office, and where it's just total squalor now, total crackdown.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is too is we go from his brother had like a slow buildup. Right. Where Elliot is now, or the Steve Jobs, as we will call him,
you will.
Where Steve Jobs is now trying to become an addict in one day.
And he succeeds.
He's just chewing them like they're chiclets.
Yes. Oh, sweet Jesus. So, okay, they constantly compare themselves to the famous Siamese twins of the 1800s.
They're not Siamese twins, and those guys weren't doctors. So what the hell?
You know what's funny is I went and actually Googled the famous Siamese twins, and what they say is that if they'd lived today, they could have easily been separated.
Yeah,
easily.
I think I heard something. I think it was just a few blood vessels. They didn't share organs. There was just like a strap.
They shared, like their livers were connected. Is basically what it is.
But nowadays, we nip off bits of people's livers and give them to other people.
In modern medicine, it's basically an outpatient procedure. You just walk in, they do a quick snip, and you're good to go.
They do it. It's at the urgent care. You get your COVID shot, and they can give you a piece of the liver removed.
Boom. If you've ever seen them, it is literally just like a section of their torsos are connected. You know, it's not like they're connected by the skulls or their brains or something. So
yeah, it looks like one of those dog rawhide chews.
I did not go that deep into the research, for goodness sake. But
you can play it like a guitar string.
That is correct. Well, what they say is that the one twin was the sickly one who died in his sleep. He drank too much and died in his sleep or something. And as a reaction, the twin died quickly, and they said he died of fright. I don't know if that's
but in reality, you got some poison blood that is now seeping into your body, causing an infection, and now you're dead.
Well, right, because they
got married. Unlike these twins, they both of them got married and had a million children.
Kids. like 20 kids between them or something ridiculous.
Yeah, something ridiculous. So apparently privacy was not an issue.
Maybe they're swingers. Who's to say? You know what I mean?
That's right.
Let the good times
They
roll.
invented it.
Who am I to judge? Okay, we're not kink shaming.
Who am I to judge?
No, but I mean, really, they've had their whole lives to get used to it. Whereas the wives, they just gotta like get on board with the program, I guess, at that stage of the game, right?
Get on board. What are you gonna say? I fell in love with the Siamese twin.
Why are you looking at my twin?
Why is it?
Look at me.
That's right.
That's how they do it.
I see you looking. Don't look.
But yeah, it's like what you said is absolutely true. It's like if they don't have the medicine to separate them, then guess what? You've got a corpse attached to your body. You're not long for this world at that stage of the game.
But that has nothing to do with these twins, because one, they're not connected. So they've decided they're just they're psychologically connected in not a good way.
Right. So the grand finale, because frankly, I mean, let me just say, David Cronenberg movies usually have barrels of grotesque body horror. This one only has a couple moments that you're like, what the?
Yeah. It was more porn than horror. Quite frankly, they could have had more with the weird gynecological torture. That probably could have been better. Less in-depth drug addiction. I mean,
yes, I absolutely agree. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the first half of the movie is here are two scumbag twin brothers, and the second half of the movie is damn, now they're drug addicts too. And that's what.
I mean, I would have loved to see this redone in modern day with the Me Too movement and have Jeremy Irons come at me with the fingernail, with the claw, and I'd be like, what the hell do you think you're doing? That's not going anywhere near me.
So, by the way, that's the 5th F-bomb of the episode, ladies and gentlemen, if you're scoring at home.
I am scoring at home. We got to rank it. Put it in the notes.
The best is Crazy Bev, in full drug-addled mind, pulls out his crazy tools and is going to use them in like some kind of gynecological surgery before he jumps on the woman and takes the the laughing gas, the nitrous oxide. Says, I just need a little something.
Right. Oh my God. Doctor, I mean, first of all, he's already shaky and druggy. Yes. They all should have stopped him immediately. But
when he pulled up the claw,
that was
and was like, I'm going to use my own special instruments for this one. That should have been the end of it. What is that? I don't know what this is.
But doctor, just call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something. People will be like, are you out of your mind? We're all going to go to jail. What are you, Dr. Mengele? And we need to add, this is when it's the dramatic lighting and they're all in just like blood crimson.
Yes, it was Manos the Hands of
Fate like,
is basically the outfits.
They basically were wearing like almost a burqa. Their whole face, they got all you see is their eyes, except for with a black backdrop and crimson.
Oh, no question.
That was just so ominous and fantastic.
So in the final scene, sensitive Jeremy Iron, in a crazy drug-addled moment, basically disembowels his brother with his consent, apparently.
With his consent, because they both got high as F.
Yes.
And his brother's like, okay,
I'm down.
I'm down. Don't understand that. Don't get it. Speaking as someone who may or may not have, maybe not those intoxicants, but others, never once did I say, you want to disembowel me? Sure, whatever.
Well, when I was a kid, they would have like these kind of in-services at school where they describe these horrifying scenarios. Like if you took too much drugs, you'd think you could fly and jump off a roof or something.
Right. I remember the same thing.
Question.
I listened to those, so therefore Aaron didn't take heroin. It was always, don't take the heroin, don't take the PCP. And I listened to that, and I did follow those rules.
Those are the guidelines you follow. That's important to know. Good. Good for you. Sweet Jesus.
100%.
Sweet Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on? I think that's all the notes I have. Although after he murders his brother, you could tell, because you see now there's only one brother. Jeremy Irons is the only one still kicking around.
Right.
However, You've got like clearly like a Halloween mannequin in the background strapped to the chair. It was like,
Yeah.
they went to the Halloween store and hooked that up. So that's good.
Was it the spirit store of 1987?
Oh, no question. No question. Sweet Jesus.
What's the deal with drugs and candles? Candles everywhere. Remember in Goodfellas when that one chick who was in all those TV shows, the one with the New Jersey accent, is mixing that heroin, cocaine, whatever the hell it is. There's just candles everywhere. Same here. What's the deal with the candles and the drugs?
Well, I know if you're freebasing, oftentimes people use candles for that reason.
Okay, well, in either of these situations, there was no basing.
So then maybe it's just setting the right mood? Is that a possibility?
Setting the right mood to take a bunch of pills in your office.
Set the night to music. Could be. Who's to say? Who's to say? Shall we go behind the scenes?
I think we're ready. Let me think. Do I have any other? No, I think I got everything.
That's all you need.
Go for it. Go for it.
Let's see. Here we go. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Okay, the shots of the twins on screen together were accomplished through one of the first uses of computer-controlled moving matte photography. So there you go.
All right. What is that, green screen?
So. And horrible wigs was the other thing.
And horrible wigs. Who's the wig master?
Yes, the wig master. Originally, David Cronenberg wanted Jeremy Irons to use 2 separate dressing rooms for each of the characters. And what he realized is that they are actively trying to look like each other. So therefore, they should use the same dressing room and then kind of, wear it slightly differently. What do you think of that?
So, in other words, what? There's 2 different wardrobes in one dressing room. Is that about it?
One dressing room, one wardrobe. They would wear the exact same clothes, but wear them slightly differently.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He didn't need 2 separate dressing. This is not this complicated, Aaron.
Well, why? Yeah, no, it's not that complicated, but it's not earth-shattering either. I'm like, yeah,
well, I'm doing what you take what you can get. I mean, there's no grand revelations. You do what you can. Sweet Jesus.
I mean, I guess he could have had a scar like the Lion King or something like that, but I guess that wouldn't work. He wouldn't be pulling the chicks.
He would not. He had a big Mangala scar.
What could have dandruff that he's always wiping off his shoulder?
During filming, Jeremy Irons kept track of whether he was playing Elliot or Beverly by always playing one on the weight of the balls of his feet or the other on the weight of his heels.
Okay.
Earth-shattering?
All right. That is shocking. That is shocking. Way to go. I guess that's better than just writing like Elliot on your forearm.
That would be bad. You keep looking at your forearm. William Hurt was Cronenberg's first choice to play the twins.
See, I don't understand that. William Hurt was you know who of the time.
They love William Hurt. And I've told you before. I'm not convinced he's a good actor at all. So there you go.
I'm not convinced either. Didn't he win an Academy Award for the accent?
They were throwing Academy Awards at him left, right, and center. If he showed up, they'd throw an Academy Award at him.
No. He's the Kevin Costner of his day.
Pretty much. It's a sad situation. I think their day was the same day, but whatever. Who's to say? He regretted turning it down, but he had a scheduling conflict, and later commented that it's hard enough. He has a hard enough time playing one character, let alone 2. All I could say is clearly.
Yeah. Clearly.
Robert De Niro turned down the role. He said he was uncomfortable playing a gynecologist. So there you go.
Now that's making me wonder. I wonder because he's a good actor. So it would be interesting. I wonder what that would have looked like.
It would have looked crazy.
It would have looked crazy.
Law and Order alum Jill Hennessy and her identical twin Jacqueline Hennessy both made their film debut playing identical twin escorts. We talked about that. Good times. They're on screen for like 30 seconds.
I have. Can I go back? There's something I questioned in
it.
the movie. Am I
Not at
messing
all.
everything
Hit
up?
me.
Okay, I was very confused at one point. Remember when Beverly overdoses in the apartment? I was a little confused if that was a prostitute or a nurse that gave them CPR. I was a little confused because all of a sudden there's someone performing CPR that I thought was a prostitute, and then he's like, "Get off of him!"
A prostitute. When Crazy Bev showed up to the awards banquet drunk as a lord and sits down at the table,
Yes.
she's there. She's sitting at the table with
Okay.
him. Now, they never say who she is. And I guess he could have brought a prostitute with him to the awards banquet, but seems unlikely. So it seems like she's some kind of medical professional of some sort. But they never tell us what their relationship is.
But she's full on doing CPR, though.
Oh, yes. She clearly knows what she's
Right.
doing. But then you're right. Creepy Elliot's like, get away from my brother. I don't know what accent I'm doing. Sweet Lord. Margot Kidder was David Cronenberg's second choice for playing the role of Claire Neveu. Incidentally, Kidder played homicidal twins in Brian De Palma's Sisters in 1970.
I never saw that. Which one was Margot Kidder? She was the one from Superman, right?
She was Lois Lane, and she was in Amityville Horror.
Oh yeah, poor lady. She has some mental health issues. This probably wouldn't have been good for her.
Can we talk about the scene that we see Jeremy Irons getting it on with Claire Neveu the first time, where she is tied to the bed with like surgical straps?
Oh yeah, I did. I wrote that down. I said so much. What did I wrote down? So much tubing.
Forceps.
So much tubing at her house. So that means he brought it with him.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing I've ever.
And
it was bizarre.
And Jeremy Irons is always thin, but it looked like he worked out for this because he was stripped to the bone. I could count individual muscles in his back.
Right, he is actually remarkably muscly. He's very lean, but he actually has muscles. It's a weird thing.
He's like one of those the Invisible Man, where you can see all the muscles and everything.
Yes, that is correct.
Because otherwise, it looks like a strong wind would blow him away.
That is true. Premiere Magazine voted this one of the 25 most dangerous movies.
I don't even know what that means because it kills people. Because it causes terrorists to strike. It caused 9/11. How is a movie dangerous ideas? Because it'll give gynecologists ideas, or because it'll give twins ideas?
I think all of the above.
What a freaking ridiculous thing.
Entertainment Weekly ranked this as the 20th scariest movie of all time.
That's a house of lies. Okay, there's nothing. It is not scary, but it is uncomfortable, kinky, and odd.
You're absolutely right. It definitely has very uncomfortable moments, but there's no way I would call this, like, I wouldn't watch this on Halloween.
No. And you're not going to have bad dreams that Jeremy Irons trying to kick down your door to give you a pap smear.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
And as you said, this movie's very loosely based on two real-life twins, Stuart and Cyril Marcus. The two were found dead in their apartment on Upper East Side of Manhattan. Deaths were due to withdrawal from barbiturate addiction. So there you go. It's important to realize.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it. Shall we talk about the cast? We've talked about it.
Well, we love Jeremy Irons. He's been in everything on the face of the earth. I have no idea how old he is because he still looks the same.
You're absolutely right. Jeremy Irons is obviously the star of the show.
100%.
He did this movie and then immediately did Reversal of Fortune, where he
won. Oh my God.
Academy Award.
Reversal of Fortune is one of my most favorite movies. He is amazing in that. And then our friend from your Chuck Norris movie that we Ron Silver plays Alan Dershowitz. If you haven't seen Reversal of Fortune, You have my permission to skip Dead Ringers to go right to Reversal of Fortune.
Jeremy Irons played Klaus von Bülow in Reversal of Fortune, and when he won the Academy Award for Best Actor, he thanked David Cronenberg. Boom.
Right on.
Right on, right on. You know Jeremy Irons from a number of things. He was in Die Hard with a Vengeance. He was in The Lion King.
Yep, he was Scar.
He was Scar. He played Alfred in the Batman versus Superman with Ben Affleck. Good Lord. It's an all-star cast. Genevieve Bujold. Butchering her crazy. Peugeot. Cujo. She was in Coma, Tightrope with Clint Eastwood. She was in Anne of the Thousand Days. You know her. She played Catherine of Aragon.
Mm-hmm. Chop.
Or Aragon. One of, I don't know. Aragorn. Who's to say? She's French-Canadian. And we talked about Jill Hennessy. The rest, we didn't talk about this. Our favorite Canadian actor, Stephen Lack, that we remember from Scanners, the star of Scanners, plays the crazy artist who makes the freakish gynecological tools as an art installation.
Uh-huh.
It's a horror story. I can't explain it. Sweet Jesus. Shall we talk about our ratings?
Oh my God.
Dead Ringers currently has 83% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. 82% from the audience. I want to see if we get anything from our favorite reviewers.
Siskel and Ebert.
I think they both weighed in here. Rex Reed loved it. No, I don't know. Let's see. Janet Maslin, 4 out of 5 from the New York Times. Cronenberg, who has begun to emerge as a master of body-related horrific fantasy, clearly understands that a small amount of medical mischief can be more unnerving than conventional grisliness.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? Roger Ebert, 2.5 out of 4. This is considered rotten.
Yeah.
The kind of movie where you ask people how they liked it, and they say, well, it was well made, and then they wince.
Yeah, it is something that makes you uncomfortable. I think the next movie that he made was all about men getting a prostate exam.
That's correct.
But it's 2 female twin doctors, and they only wear black.
That's all you need, right? Yes.
We only specialize in the prostate.
That is pretty rough. When people start asking to check your prostate, I usually mambo right out of it.
Let me show you my new gold-plated tools that I will examine your prostate with.
A little help from your Labrador Retriever. I like that one.
David Cronenberg, let's work together. This is our next film.
It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. Okay, what is your rating for Dead Ringers?
I am going to give it 3 3/4 out of 5 bejeweled speculums.
I appreciate that they're bejeweled, by the way.
Bejazzled, bejeweled, bejingled.
I am going to give it 2 out of 5 trifurcated cervixes. Sweet Lord.
Bejeweled, trifurcated. I can't even talk. I've lost the ability of speech.
Would you recommend this movie to anyone on Earth?
I would recommend it 20 years ago. Maybe not now. When it first came out, we were all like, oh my God, you got to go see it. Twin gynecologist. Now, not so much, which is why we probably haven't recorded it this before, because
no,
it's not on anyone's top 10 list, but it is a freaky idea.
Well, the problem to me is Dead Ringers obviously means people you can't tell apart. They're identical twins, but to me,
and they're dead.
Right, by the end, they're dead. Because I felt like this isn't really a horror movie. It's almost like kind of a trick
Yeah.
to call it Dead Ringers because you think it's going to be some kind of supernatural ghost story or something. And it's really it's almost a drama.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
It's a drug, kind of a torture-y thing. I mean, who's our hostile guy?
Eli Roth.
Eli Roth could make a field day of this, and you just like, let me have cervical cancer because I'm never going to gynecologist after I watch the Eli Roth version of this.
This is unsettling, but it's not like you're waking up screaming. I mean, speaking as a woman, were you throwing up in the bushes watching this movie?
Like I said, I'm not having bad dreams that Jeremy Irons wants to give me a pap smear with his new homemade tools. But you're right. It's more of a drug drama.
Yeah.
It's a drug
That's
drama.
exactly what it is.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I take a hard pass on this. I mean, it's not like horrible to watch. It's just kind of like whatever is kind of my attitude about it.
It had some interesting moments. I mean, like
It did.
I mean, like the crimson outfits. They had some cool looking scenes. All the gynecological stuff. No one's really ever tried to whip that into a horror film, and they should have. Really, it's just because men rule Hollywood. But I
That's
mean,
why.
that could be a thing for like a future scary movie, you know. But like I said, it might fit Eli Roth more, and then I would never see it.
No. I'm not watching Eli Roth's gynecological exams.
That's the name of the movie. Eli Roth's Gynecological Games.
No, thanks. No, thank you very much. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Aaron, we are on Insta.
We're on the IG, my friend. We are The Podcast That Wouldn't Die in one giant word.
With a lot of underscores.
I can't
For
even
goodness
remember.
sake.
Does it even have underscores, or is it just
Yes.
a giant name?
It's just a giant underscore, I think is the real answer. You can also email us at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die at Gmail. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, and spread the word, won't you?
Oh, let me tell you now. We're up to 210 followers on the IG.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. We're world famous.
Now, Aaron, you are also on social media.
I am the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I'm on the Twitski and the IG. Come see my fabulous artwork.
Next week, we're going to be going to the 70s. You can't wait. It is the Irwin Allen disaster flick, The Swarm, where killer bees are attacking people, starring Michael Caine, Henry Fonda, Olivia de Havilland. It's an all-star cast, for God's sakes. You can watch it for $1.99 on Amazon Prime, or buy it for $5.99.
I ain't never even heard of this movie.
Oh yeah, it's an all-star cast. You can't even beat it.
Ay, ay, ay. When it's my turn to
check that
pick,
out.
it's going to be more Catholic drama.
Please do. More gynecological stuff.
I'm going to
Please,
find
please,
the
please.
Catholic and gynecological terror all in one.
Sounds good. All in one. Oh, thank you very much, and be well.
Late ski Delta variant.